Alright, what's up, gang? I ain't really took no notes on this one, but fuck it, we jumping right in, you feel me? I just wanted to goddamn speak my piece on some shit real quick. Truth about religion, right? Now I know this might be some controversial shit, right? Maybe some uncomfortable shit for a lot of y'all out there, but I really don't give a fuck. So goddamn, check this out, bro. First, what I need you to do is put your feelings to the side when it comes to like shit you've been taught, and especially from like your family or like school, just history rise, because a lot of the shit they teach us in school are taught. Well, yeah, they teach us in school, taught us in school. It's just not really history, right? That's not the way things really went. When you really start doing research and then you start cross-referencing shit like certain events with other shit, you feel me, you start to find holes in shit in history, and like in history for real, and then through the holes you see what you can kind of understand what really played out, right, intuitively, if you really pay attention. So, and then of course just looking at where we are today. So boom, back to religion, right? Why I say this is the truth about religion, right? Religion in itself is just a belief system, right? It's just a system of beliefs. And it's hot out here. I ain't gonna hold y'all. It's hot as fuck out this bitch. But I don't give a fuck about that shit either. I don't give a fuck about that shit either, bro, because I'm getting this sunlight. And sunlight is important as fuck, especially if you're a melanated being, bro. That shit help you on so many different levels. But I'll make a video about that too. The religion thing, though, that shit just a concept. And then it's like, it's just a system of beliefs, right? It's something that you can adhere to, and it could keep you, you know, on somewhat of a having a faith in life level, right? But it's not really in life, right? It's in like this force that's outside of you, and you have to trust that this force, this being, will be merciful to you, right? And at the same time, not even with Christianity, right? I'm gonna say monotheism in general. And this is why I say religion and not Christianity, because within religion you have, I mean, you have Christianity, of course, you have Judaism, you have, Islam, the typical monotheistic religions you might be familiar with. Why do I use the term monotheistic? What does monotheistic mean, right? Monotheistic just basically means one God, right? One deity, like one all powerful outside of you. Okay, boom. Now, when we look at history, right? Ancient civilizations, pretty much all, I'm not gonna say all because I can't act like I know, but for the majority I do know that a lot of ancient civilizations were polytheistic. What does polytheistic mean? Well, poly just means like multiple, right? So they would have more than one god or more than one deity. Now, what is the reason behind this, you might ask? Well, especially if we let's just talk about Africans, right? Let's talk about a lot of like African, like diaspora, Yoruba. Like, let's talk about some of those type cultures, right? And even if you look at the Greeks, right? Even though arguably the Greeks took that belief system from studying the Africans, but again, like that's another video. So yeah, polytheism. What is the purpose of it, right? Well, a lot of ancient cultures used to believe that nature was God, right? In itself, in its totality, right? Because what is God? What does God even mean, right? Well, God just means creator, right? A God is just like a creator, right? To put it simply. And so these cultures would look at it like nature's God, right? Because everything exists within nature and comes from nature, right? Even if you just look at even if you look at it on excuse me even if you look at it on a higher level, right, with planets and how that corresponds to everything down here, it's all contained within the natural world. And so ancient civilizations, they would appoint deities and gods and things of that nature. They would correspond those to things that occurred within the natural world, so far as like, let's just say like water, like they'd have like river gods, water gods, right? fire, right? Like fire gods, lightning, things of that nature, like air, like love, you know, even when it comes to emotions, like love, things of that nature, bro. Aggression, things of that nature, right? And so no matter, you know, what it's based on, my point is there was usually more than one. And the reason was because it was a way of acknowledging, right, nature and acknowledging the natural world, correct? And staying in tune with that, right? And the role it plays in your life. Like I know like Egyptians, they would even have like Egyptians would even um take certain animals, right? And correspond those to certain, like if you want to call it just like archetypes, like themes, just, you know, ideas for more or less, but spiritually, like ideas that are rooted in the spiritual, right? So cats, right? Egyptians would, they had a cat goddess, Bastet. I want to say Bastet, yeah. And the cat was important in ancient civilization because they understood that cats were very spiritual beings, and they are. Like if you have a cat, you know, they cats can literally keep negative energy away from you. Like even if, you know, someone comes around you, right? With the, I know if you have a cat, you already know what I'm about to say. But if someone comes around you with like negative intentions, something like that, your cat can just sense it. And dogs can too, but dogs are more so, they protect you more so on a physical level, right? Like if someone's trying to break in your house, like there goes, you know, Fido gonna check that shit. But the cat, you know, is there to guard you from things on the spiritual level. And Egyptians understood that, so they worship cats and they respected cats. And so it's just an example. And religion focuses on one being, right? That's supposed to be the creator for all of this. And then religion gives you like this set of rules, right, which you're supposed to follow. And then again, like those are just morals, right? Like like the 10 Commandments, like bro, those are just basic morals. Like if you're not a fuck nigga, you feel me? You're not gonna be out here trying to steal and like mindlessly kill and like all this shit. Like anyway, you feel me? Like I don't want to call it common sense, but it's like, you know, if you have love in your heart, you're not gonna do a lot of that shit anyway. And again, oh well, not even again, but that made me think of how, you know, in the Bible they say God is love, right? God is love, and you know God is love. Like all this shit, love, like the energy that is love, the spirit that is love, you know, that is the foundation for life. You know, it is. But it's it's just tricky when it comes to reading something like that in a text, because I feel like it could easily be taken literally, and not even literally. You could easily get confused because they're telling you all these stories, and it's like there's truth in the Bible, which that's what makes the shit hard for people to, you know, really, I feel like, understand. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like I read the whole Bible. I read some of it, and I went to church. You know, I used to go to church a whole lot, but you know, I've said in one of my previous videos, I feel like I've always been kind of spiritually aware to a degree. And so if something doesn't sit right with me, then I just automatically start questioning it, and I have to understand, you know, why it's not adding up, because some shit makes sense. You know, it makes sense, right? At least, you know, that's what it would appear to be, right? Sometimes some shit sound like it makes sense and it don't make sense. But you know, for the most part, yeah. And when it came to, you know, church and shit like that, I would always, you know, listen, and I'd be like, okay, cool, like I understand. But then it's like, y'all are supposed to believe this and y'all are supposed to be on this, but we're still people like everybody else, right? Y'all still make mistakes. Everybody still makes mistakes. And I understand, you know, those are things that you're supposed to repent for, right? And ask for forgiveness from God. But then I feel like that's the whole mind fuck in it, right? If I mess up, right? If I do, you know, if I break one of these commandments, or if I do like anything, right? Which can be inevitable, not inevitable. I don't want to say that. It's not inevitable, right? Because you can definitely discipline yourself. But shit might happen, right? Especially before you get on more of a self-aware, conscious path and like trying to do better, right? Which is hard to get, which is hard to get to that place, you know, in itself if you don't really know what you want out of life and your purpose, or you're scared to chase that. But again, that's the whole, you know, that's literally the whole loop to it. But back to the Christianity thing, yeah. So you're putting the power in someone else's hands, right? And this other being's hands. And then it's like if you fuck up, you're doomed, right? Basically to eternal existence in hell, where you're gonna burn, right? If you don't, it's literally like it's literally accept this or you're doomed. Like, or you're doomed forever. So it's like, damn, should I be lucky that I just happen to know about this shit? Like, what if I didn't know about this shit? You feel me? Like, what the fuck? So yeah, you're doomed basically forever, where you're gonna burn, even though that's not possible because you couldn't even experience the sensation of burning without like a physical body. Like, you only experience that like certain sensations because you have a physical body. So it would literally be impossible for you as a purely like spiritual ethereal being, right? After you pass, it would be impossible for you to even experience burning, bro. Like, and so that's out the window for one, right? For two, damn, my bad. I was looking at some birds taking a bird bath, man. But yeah, man, for two, the shit you're putting all the power outside of yourself, and I feel like it keeps people afraid in a sense, right? Like that's my second point. Like it keeps people afraid, you know. And like I said before, like you can, you know, find faith in yourself, but the shit kind of keeps you afraid for the most part, bro, of fucking up. And then it's like if the other people that are religious don't approve, it's some other shit. And then like, you know, again, the whole hypocritical thing to it. Like a lot of the people that are in church, bro, they are not perfect, and half of the shit they doing, I'm sure they're not fucking repenting about it. You feel me? And it's like it's you versus you in life. That's what people don't understand. Like, yes, you can meditate, yes, you can pray, but that's still all within you. You get what I'm saying? Like you're not talking to some now there, you feel me? You might, I take that back. I have to backtrack and say that you could be connecting with, you know, because there are definitely the entities, you know, on higher frequencies, right? More positive and on lower frequencies. So you know, meditation is good because when you meditate, you know, when you meditate, it forces you to, well, it doesn't force you. You can, I guess you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. But, you know, the goal is to be still and to observe your thoughts so you can kind of get a read on, you know, okay, what's my higher self and what am I, like, what's some egocentric shit that I might be experiencing. And higher self just basically means like, you know, a place of love. You know how you have, there's the saying that you always have like an angel and a demon on your shoulder, right? And there's always like a positive voice and a lower. Okay, so the positive voice is basically your higher self, and the shit telling you to do bullshit, or the shit saying telling you that you should doubt yourself because of what other people would think. Okay, that's your ego, right? That's the fear based lower shit. You know, everything in life operates on like a spectrum, on like a frequency. You get what I'm saying? It's always like positive and negative, right? Even when it comes to the thoughts in your mind, right? And emotions. Okay, so boom, back to Christianity, right? So the whole thing about, no, I'm sorry, not Christianity, religion, right? To the bigger picture, back to religion and monotheism as a whole, because polytheistic beliefs aren't religious as much as they are spiritual. Again, it's about acknowledging the natural world, bro, and the role we play in that shit as people. Not just giving all the credit to this one powerful being, right? That snapped their fingers and everything just came into existence. And so yeah, man, the power, I feel like it just kind of forces you to put the power outside of yourself. And I honestly believe like the power is in everyone's hands to change their lives. Like Imagine if there was no like look okay, like let's just imagine like there was never like any religion, right? There was never any like ancient Hermetic Egyptian texts with these, you know, stories in them that were stolen and remixed and turned into most of the stories in the Bible, right? Like, and then burned so people couldn't, you know, go back and really become aware, specifically melanated people, right? Leading to the oppression of us as a whole. Like, imagine that never happened, right? Okay, so at that point, you would be in your most natural state, right? Like you would just be with nature. You know, you would be appreciating, you know, nature for the fact that everything you need exists within nature already, right? Like shelter, food, everything exists within nature already, right? And then, you know, with this whole money shit, like first they gave us religion, right? And let's just think about how slaves were brought over here, right? First they gave us like religion and the bullshit food, right? The soul food, which shit is not fucking, this shit is not good for your soul at all. Like all that bullshit, like we be eating like all the extra salts and like the meat. Oh my god, like that's probably not even meat if we really want to talk about it and go down that route with the video. But like yeah, and then they introduced like this whole money system, right? Now everyone knows the story about when, you know, colonizers came over to the Americas and they were trying to explain to the Indians that the dollar was worth some, not the Indians, Native Americans, I'm sorry, because yeah, Native Americans. So they were trying to explain to them that the dollar was worth some shit, and this is where the term Indian giver comes from, because colonizers came to America and they had money, right? Like the English people, Caucasians, right? They had money, and they were trying to like buy things from these Native Americans, like resources like corn, and trying to like explain to them that money is valuable and we have all the money, so we should be able to buy this shit off of you. And then they would give them the money, and then the natives would be like, well, what the fuck, like this is paper, like what are we supposed to do with this fucking paper? Because you see, native cultures, bro, pretty much all civilizations were spiritual, bro. They understood like that you should be in tune with the earth, bro. And like everything you need is already fucking here, bro. And you're supposed to honor that. And when you do that, you will feel gratitude and you will feel love and you will feel fulfilled. And then you'll be able to express that to other people. And then it's just, it'll raise the consciousness as a whole, right? Instead of you feeling fearful and guilty, and now you walking around resentful of yourself and projecting that on the other people and bringing other people down, and then huddling up in church on Sunday and asking God for forgiveness. So for some shit that you could change yourself, right? If you just stop being a fuck nigga. So yeah, Indian natives. Damn, I keep saying that shit. I'm sorry. If you like of Indian, if you're Indian and you watching this, I'm sorry. But like Native Americans, bro, because honestly, Native Americans look more like me than like a Dravidian or like an Indian or some shit like that, Mongoloid, whatever the fuck. No, but yeah, more like me and you if you're black or whatever, or of African descent and watching this. I really don't even like using the word black either. That's another thing. Like, bro, there were people of African descent on every fucking continent. And I know this video might not be like, you might be like, well, I thought it was about religion, but you know, this is a brain dump. You feel me? Like I said, I ain't write any of this shit down. Like, the religious shit, you know, I done said enough about that, and I'm gonna get back to it. But I feel like, you know, it takes a little bit more insight when you explain this shit, and it takes a little bit more of the bigger picture for someone to really grasp the importance instead of like just putting it in front of them. So boom, like I like to give background and shit. So yeah, natives and shit, they didn't have like, you know, religious systems and all this shit. They were just spiritual, bro. Like they honored animals and shit, like like the hawk. And like to Native Americans, the hawk represented like insight and shit, and like a deeper understanding for things. Why is that? Because if you look at hawks, bro, like as birds, they're one of the most like powerful birds of prey, right? And they're so fucking fast, and they can fly so high to the point where they have this incredible vantage point, right, of seeing everything, i.e. kind of like the bigger picture. And so natives would associate that with like insight and things of that nature. And so yeah, that's just kind of how the belief systems were structured. And so the whole money thing was a shock. I imagine that shit was like, what the fuck? Because it's like, again, what do we do with this paper money? So then they would go back to the Indian giver shit. The natives would go back and they would get their shit back, or they would want their shit back. Excuse me, because it's like, bro, we can't do nothing with this shit. Like, y'all giving us paper money, which comes from trees, right? Y'all giving us paper money, like, we can't eat this shit. We can't hunt with this shit. We can't do anything. And it's like, money is only even valuable because you need it to get these things, right? In today's society, you need money to get food and shelter and all this other shit. But it's like, all that shit already exists within the natural world. Like, everything you need to survive already exists. Like, you don't need money. Like, in reality, like, you don't need money. Like, I know you might be thinking, what you do need money? Like, no, you feel like to you, you need money because you don't understand that, bro, all this shit already exists. Like, I know if you living within like this matrix, if you in just or living anywhere, because pretty much, you know, currency exists like everywhere, right? But even here, right, with the currency, it's you can't it's there's not as much leverage to this shit, because like, think about it this way: fast food, you know, fast food costs like a few dollars, right? Some GMO fruit costs like a few dollars. But like, if you want to get like some decent, and don't get me wrong, like fruit is always gonna be better than that bullshit anyway, right? Even if it is like whatever, like fruit is always gonna be better than like some meat, bro. But or vegetables are always gonna be better than like all that dumb shit like people be putting in their body. And don't get me wrong, I be guilty of this shit from time to time, but I'm conscious of this shit, and 90% of the time I'm eating right. And so boom, yeah, man. The natives are like, we can't do nothing with this. So colonizers get mad. They start fucking shit up, right? Wiping out people, like shit they was probably gonna do anyway, right? Like, if y'all don't let us buy the shit, we gonna destroy the shit, right? So the fucking wipe shit out, destroy shit. 13 colonies come about. You know, the shit where, you know, the history picks up at in school or whatever the fuck. And so I say all that to say that once slaves brought over, they pressed their religion on them, right? And it started with money, and then came, you know, again the religion, and then it's like now it's like the education shit in school, because the history is not like accurate in school like at all, bro. Like, history is kind of like his story. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, his being the other side. You feel me? Like, not this side. You feel me? Not our history. You get what I'm saying? Like, the other side. But I don't know. I just want to talk about that shit because I feel like religion and like monotheism, like specifically, I feel like it keeps more. I feel like more often than not, it keeps people in more of an oppressed mind state than a liberated one. You feel me? And that's why I fuck with spirituality, bro. Cause this shit ain't no. You don't have to like be any type of way. Like, bro, you can be yourself, bro. Like, it's literally about being yourself. Like, it's literally about being yourself, bro. And it's like, at first it starts with you know, accepting your the bad, the negative, right? The shit you feel like is negative, because after you accept it, you realize it's not even negative. Like, the parts of you feel like are bad, or you know, aren't enough, or whatever, for people or society, all that bullshit, that ego, those egocentric thoughts, bro. The fear, right? Because everything's emotional, right? And that's another thing about being spiritual. You realize that everything's fucking emotional. Like, energy, like emotion literally means energy in motion, right? So everything's just like emotion. Like, even energy is kind of like emotion. It's one and the same. I just said that. It's one and the same. I'm sorry for repeating myself. But yeah, man, spirituality is literally just about like knowing yourself and being grounded in who you are and believing that. And it's like, it starts with that acceptance, and then the more you get into it, the more aware you become, and the easier it is, right? Your third eye starts to open, right, if you want to say that, and you start to notice the inconsistencies in like reality, all the little, like all the like the food, like all the little, like all the shit is not good for you, right? And it's like, why are we doing all these things that aren't good for us? Because you learn more about yourself, is what I'm trying to get at. My bad. You start to learn more about yourself, and that's on every level. Like, yo, history, your culture, like whatever, as a race, you know, like the human body, what you need as a fucking as just a human being, right? Like that's like people don't even like start to think about that shit. Like, bro, just as a human being, there's certain shit you should be doing and you shouldn't be doing. It's like people are just people just act so unaware and just to the like you get like baffled to the to the fact that there is shit that is good for you and there's shit that is bad for you, bro. And at any given time, you're either doing something that's productive or something that's not productive. And people like are kind of just aloof to that shit. And it's like you just gotta care. You feel me? Like, bro, you really got to care, bro, about yourself, right? And not because look, when you start caring about yourself, you eventually you'll be able to care about other people, right? In a positive way and give back, right? But you know, when you so caught up worrying about what other people like feel about you or what they would say about some shit, or because that's all it is. Like, I'm sorry, bro. Like, people be trying to act like that's not what the fuck it is. Like, my nigga, bro, be real, bro. Like, and this ain't even about like religion. Like, bro, this you feel me? Like, this ain't even about the fact that, you know, some shit goes against your religion or whatever. But like not even that bullshit, bro. But the fact that like motherfuckers really be afraid to be themselves, bro, because it's not it might not be seen as a norm or some shit like that. Like, bro, my nigga, like, fuck that shit, bro. Like, be yourself, bro, and be yourself proudly, bro. Cause look, you gonna go one day, bro. Whether you live your life in fear or whether you live your life confidently, bro. Everybody gonna have that day, bro. And like a couple 100 years, 100 years from now, bro, like nobody gonna be like, bro, I'm not gonna be here, you not gonna be here. So it's like, just live your life to the fullest, bro. So that way, when you are on your deathbed, you're not sitting there in regret. Cause imagine that, bro. Like, imagine being on your deathbed and your last thought is like, damn, bro, I really could have did that shit. Like, there was people doing that shit, so there wasn't no reason why I couldn't do that shit. I was just, I don't know. And then you have that one little thought that pops into your head of like, motherfuckers laughing or motherfuckers treating you. You feel me? Like some bullshit like that. Like, that's the shit you gotta let go of. Like, and I know, you know, people can process thoughts kind of fast, right? So it might be harder to be aware of that shit like in the moment. But that's why I say like you need to meditate. Meditation is important because you can be as still as possible physically, right? Close your eyes, like all of that shit. So you can be a little bit more aware to what's going on in your mind and shit, right? Your thoughts and shit like that, and the intrusive thoughts or like, you know, the productive ones and shit like that. But I feel like none of your excuse me, like I feel like nothing you could really think, nothing in your fucking head is really too, you know, again, like I guess it's a subjective thing, but like I feel like nothing's really too productive if it's not what you really want to do and how you feel, because like, bro, that's the most important thing. Like, of course you shouldn't be out here like, of course you shouldn't be out here hurting people because it make you feel good. But again, like if you're hurting people, it's probably because you're hurt, right? It's probably because it's some shit there's some shit in your past that you couldn't accept. So it's like you're hurt anyway. Like, that's not even, you feel me? Somebody that's really content with life and happy is like somebody who's really content and happy. It's not about to walk around, bruh. It's not about to walk around on some fucking bullshit. And so I don't know. That's just all I really had to say in this video. I mean, I feel like religion was more or less put into place to kind of keep people in an oppressed mindset, especially when you look at, you know, actual history and you realize that a lot of these ancient cultures that were thriving because like, bro, best believe we was eating in ancient Egypt, nigga. Best believe in Kemet, nigga, when motherfuckers was using sound to create pyramids. And oh, there's pyramids in America too. That's some other shit they don't tell y'all, bro. There's pyramids on damn near every continent. Like, we was in this bitch deep as fuck. Best fucking believe that shit, bro. And so yeah, bro, motherfuckers, we was like thriving off of spirituality, nigga, off of spirituality and understanding like the natural world and like the correspondence and all this shit, bro. Like, motherfuckers was scientists, like highly evolved. Like, bro, that's the shit they don't tell y'all in school, bro. Egypt was the only civilization to experience a golden age, bro. A golden age, my nigga. Like, science, technology, yes, but then enlightenment, like spiritual enlightenment on a mass scale. Like, bro, golden age. The only, look it up, bro. The only civilization to ever experience a golden age, bro. Real shit. I'm about to get off this shit because my brother calling me. But yeah, man, I love y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. You know, peace, soul, like all of that, bro. Be safe out here, my nigga. Don't do no dumbass shit with your life today. You feel me? If you got a job, go to that bitch, do your due diligence, come home and get right back on your purpose, man. But I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video. Again, like, comment, subscribe. I love y'all. I'm out, gang.